so much free content out there. And then when we're asked to pay $3 or $4 a month, it's like, well, what? You know? Do you know, how do you approach that? It was obviously a conscious decision to put it on YouTube, but is that something that's different moving forward in terms of, you know, want to get my stuff out there for people to watch without worrying about them paying for it, or no, it's time I get rewarded for this type of stuff?
For me personally, I'm not a businessman. Like, I'm very, very, very bad at business. I think I will always be a starving artist. I've just never, it never really computes with me. And it would be easy for me to say like, oh, I don't care about money and these things, but it's like, that's not true. I just don't have a good business mind. And so when people are like, oh, like, why didn't you monetize that? Or why don't you sell this? I'm like, I either the answer is I'm lazy, or I don't know how to do it and I'm lazy. Right? So um so it's like, yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. Like, I'm not against these things, like with monetization of things, because it's like I would love to be able to support myself through those things. I'm just not good at it. And so my natural instinct always is not, oh, how can I make money out of this? And again, not because I don't care about money, but because it just doesn't, that's not how my brain works. That's not my first thought ever. My first thought always is excitement, like, oh, I just did this thing, like, everyone please watch it.
The
Please.
the experience, the process, and then the final
Yeah,
product,
yes.
essentially. Yeah.
And like, I guess there is a subconscious hope that money just comes out of thin air, right?
I know that feeling. I'll
um
put this out there, and then someone would give me money.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's just like, that's always, man, and I know from a business aspect that's a horrible way of doing things, because yeah, you don't really grow monetarily from doing it that way. And I'm very aware of that. uh I'm just not good at it.
It's a constant balance, isn't it? It's got a constant, I guess, pendulum swinging back and forth between, well, I need to pay the bills, and therefore I might compromise some of my artistic integrity because I've got to
Yeah,
make some sacrifices,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I've got to
for
go
sure.
and get some money.
Yeah,
And then on the other side, it's like, well, I can only really stay true to my art and my vision
yeah,
by not worrying about the money side of it.
yeah, yeah.
There's no
It's like,
win-win.
man, it's such a fine line, because it's like, there is that side, but then there also, like, eventually when you start having thoughts of having a family, or these things, it's like, I can skate by on my own, and I have for years. And now that I'm getting older, it's like, oh, okay, the thoughts of family, the thoughts of having children, and these kind of things. It's like, um, I can't really, I couldn't do that with what I'm doing now, and so I have to. It's weird to think about people that don't exist yet as your motivator for doing things. But I find myself in that position a lot now, where it's like, um trying to be better at business for that, so that ultimately I can have stability when those things inevitably come around in my life, because I'm not ready for it right now, like, financially. um and I don't want to always say I'm not ready for it. I want to be ready for it. And it gets to that point where it's like, okay, like, we need to you need to figure this out.
I think it's almost a limiting belief as well. A lot of us have with ourselves. And like you talked about creativity, if you believe everyone's got an element of creativity ingrained in them, it's just a matter of, you know, finding that potential. Same with general business skills, right? It's, you know, there's no one that can't do it. It's certainly not someone who's of decent intellect and traveled the world and met so many people, and it's just maybe trying to tap into that a little bit more. Or in my own experience, and I laugh when you said this because I'm a bit lazy as well when it comes to that kind of thing, because I don't really want to do that type of thing, right? Some people love it. Some people love going to get deals and money and making the next buck or making the next deal and
I
pitch and
love getting the deal. You
yeah,
know?
yeah,
The process of it though, nah, man.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a constant battle. Speaking of deals, was Angelita the kind of birth of your book idea? How do they relate? Tell us about the book.
Um, kind of. So when I did that, I think it's like two separate sides of wants for me, like as far as career goes. So it was like when I did the film, it was like I really want to get into film. I want to. Uh, I've never done it before. I want to try something new. I want to see if I can do it. And then I did it, and I was like, wow, I really enjoyed doing that. And I would like to do this more. And so that was that. And then also because I had such a deep appreciation for the cenotes that I was diving in, and I was just like, some of my favorite pictures I've taken here. Um, and so then the same kind of thing I was telling you earlier. Okay, so I have all of these images that I've been taking. At that point, it was like over a year, and then I was like, this would be a great opportunity to maybe make a book because I've always thought about making a book, but I've never really found a way to make a book where it made sense to make a book in the sense of I have pictures, but from just kind of all over the place, and it's just kind of scattered. And even though I have a very scattered brain, I like if I'm making something to make sense. So to me, it wouldn't make sense to have a book with just like random photos that I've taken. At least at this point in my life. Maybe one day it's like Josiah Gordon's favorite photographs book, right? Like you could do that. But I don't think I'm at a point where I would want to do that. And so I wanted to really like focus in on something to create a book, but I never really found the time or something that I wanted to do it for. And then when I was in after I had finished the video project, I was like, oh, like I have so many pictures of the cenotes. I should just keep doing this and I can make a book out of it easy. And then that ended up being a 4-year process. And I ended up all the pictures that I had, I scrapped all of them and redid all of them because I found it's not a narrative, but a style that I wanted to portray for the book. And the photos that I had taken earlier didn't quite fit that style. And so I just reshot them. This basically the same pictures, but just in the style that I wanted. Um, and yeah, that took 4 years and
Wow. How many visits?
over 20
Oh my
to
goodness.
Mexico. Yeah.
With the same people? With
Same people.
Chelsea?
Yeah, Chelsea was there for some. My one of my really good friends, Fernanda Morales, she's there in Mexico. Amazing model. Esther Abad, amazing model. Yeah, so I used
A lot of
a lot
good
of the same people. And that's one thing that's really special to me is all of the people that are in the book are close friends of mine. And yeah, it's like a collaborative effort, right?
yeah,
Like
that's nice.
we I'm so grateful for them taking so much time. Like whenever I came down, just like, yeah, let's go do it. Like it's so nice to have friends like that who are supportive of you and um, believe in you to do and give and because like time is your most valuable thing, right? So for people to give you time for something that you personally have an artistic vision about, it means a lot. And so that's been looking back the biggest gift I've received in all of this is people's trust and time.